The U.S. president reprimanded the prime minister today during his speech at Davos, Trump calling Canada unappreciative of the U.S.
We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
So the U.S. president did, at that same speech, back off threats to use military force in Greenland. And then just a short time ago, he announced online, posting on Truth Social, that there is, in fact, some sort of deal with Denmark on how to proceed with Greenland, and that the tariffs that he had threatened to put on February 1st will not take effect. So let's dive into what's going on with Perrin Beatty, co-chair of the expert group on Canada-U.S. relations. Thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be with you, Marilla.
First, your take on that reprimand for our prime minister from Donald Trump.
Well, it's vintage Trump. It was whiny and complaining and attacking everybody else. It's everybody else's problem, and he's trying to save the world. It's Donald Trump.
Okay. Did the speech by Carney, you think, go a step too far, putting Canada back on the radar for Washington?
I don't believe so. But I think the speech that Mark Carney gave yesterday was one of the very best speeches I've heard given by a world leader in a long, long time. He was geostrategic in terms of talking about where we're going, both as a globe and as a country. And of course, Donald Trump was ego-strategic when he was talking.
What resonated with you from that speech?
What resonated to me was first of all, it was frank and honest about the nature of the world and about the nature of the relationship between Canada and the U.S., and that's important. It was pragmatic. It wasn't caught somewhere up in high principles, but it was principled as well in terms of what it is that we want to do in the world and what sort of a relationship we want to have with other countries. So I thought it hit all of the right notes. And most importantly, it made the point to Canadians that there's no point resorting to nostalgia, to wish that things were back the way they used to be, that Donald Trump has changed the relationship permanently. And it's important for us pragmatically to look at it and to get on with our lives.
Okay. That being said, we know Donald Trump often says one thing, does another. There has now been an announcement, or at least an online post, about some sort of agreement with Denmark on the future of Greenland and how they're going to manage that. Also, there might be a critical minerals deal tucked into that. But can you accept, an online post from Donald Trump or any even official message from Donald Trump, given his track record?
Well, and that's, of course, the difficulty. And the challenge for Mark Carney as we look at CUSMA renewal is that even if you can come to an agreement, what is Donald Trump's signature worth? He was the one who replaced NAFTA, which in his view was the very worst trade agreement ever in the history of mankind, with CUSMA, which was the best ever. And he's breaking it today with his tariffs. So the problem with anybody negotiating with him is, even if you can come to an agreement, what does it mean at the end of the day, and does it stick? As of last Saturday, he was threatening the countries in Europe and the UK with whom he had reached a very difficult trade negotiation, a very difficult agreement, and is threatening them that he was going to unilaterally place new tariffs on them. This afternoon, the tariffs are off. Who knows tomorrow?
With a wider lens on how he operates with the use of economic coercion, how should that be dealt with?
Well, first of all, it's very different from dealing with somebody who's rational and principled. In any other international dealings we've had with the United States in the past, there have been plenty of instances where we've had disagreements. But you're sitting down with somebody on the other side of the table who plays by an agreed rule book, who, when they sign an agreement, it means something, where they have a clear bottom line in terms of what it is they're trying to achieve, and where their goal is to reach an agreement that both sides are happy with. In Donald Trump's case, what's most important to him is that he be seen to have won, and most importantly, that the other side be seen to have lost. That's not a very good basis for building a relationship.
Okay, so in that case, we know Canada is already attempting to pivot away, be less reliant on the U.S. Is the country firing on all cylinders to try and do that, or is there more that can be immediately done?
There's lots more that we need to do. We haven't finished the job in terms of getting rid of interprovincial barriers, for example, domestically. We were promised that was going to happen by Canada Day. It hasn't happened. We've got to focus very clearly on getting the infrastructure in place and rapidly that will allow us to get Canadian goods, particularly Canadian resources, to market. We've got to make it clear that we're focused on building our productivity and our competitiveness in Canada. The Prime Minister did a great job yesterday in sending the message that we're open for investment and that that will be a reliable partner. All of this is positive, but there's much more to do. And we need to understand two key things here. The first is that for my lifetime, the single most important relationship that Canada has, whether in business or in security or in diplomacy, is going to be with the United States. We can like it or not like it, it's the reality, and we're going to have to be very focused on managing that. The second that we have to focus on is that it's important for us to recognize that we can't go back to the way that things were before. We have to make a decision to take our future in our own hands and to systematically, in a determined way over the course of literally decades, build our resilience, build our sovereignty and our independence as a nation, and build our prosperity. And that has to be the priority.
Okay, let's leave it there. I'm out of time, Perrin Beatty, sir, but thank you for your time. Appreciate it.